Hello people, Philip Blank here, and today on Started Up we have with us a Daihatsu Hijet Mini Truck. Now this thing is a right-hand drive because it's from Japan, but it is a left-hand manual. So it's been a lot of fun to try and change the skill over from your right-hand shifting over to the left. Let's go ahead and get into it. Now this is a Japanese Kei class truck. And not something you get to see here in the US too often, and there's reasons for that. One, it's not classified as a truck, it's actually considered farm equipment. And two, you're not allowed to buy them new. So to get them to the US, they have to be sold in Japan and then exported to us to be a used vehicle. Therefore, it's not street legal off from the start, but you can title them, and in certain areas you are allowed to drive them. Now Daihatsu's parent company is Toyota, and they make up for about 4% of the sales of Toyota's entire market. Now, the Hijet has a 660cc gasoline, fuel-injected 3-cylinder engine here in the rear under the pillar. To access it, you have to go through the seats of the cab. Now this Hijet is a 2022, and it is the HD version with the PTO dump bed, and it can haul up to 1,500 pounds of material in the back. Now starting off with the front here, you do have your standard blinkers, making this thing street friendly once you get it titled. Full-on cab with your water jet sprayers and your wipers there. This one we do have a lift on it. Those little chrome shocks up in there. We got lift and just some off-road buggy tires, nothing crazy. And again, this is not made for highway speeds or anything absurd. Now inside you got the frame wrapping all around, and then leaf springs here in the rear. Back here is where you got your fuel cap, and the fuel cap does have a lock on it, so obviously for city life, keeping people from touching your gas. And this one has one of the extras, a backup sensor, so that's a nice addition they included in there. Here you are able to remove the entire gate if you are not wanting it, so that can be lifted and then your gate can come off. We can pull your sides off. We also have a spare tire underneath, different than the tires that are on there. Again, these are too large to have a spare there. This thing comes with some very, very minuscule, almost bicycle tires standard, so these knobby ones are a nice addition. Nothing fancy here, but it does the job really well. Everything on this truck is in Japanese, so don't be expecting too many helpful instructions unless you can read Japanese. You can see here it's got the little man with the gate dropping onto his foot. Now the bed on this thing has fully flip down sides. So one, you can either flip down each of the side, and then you have a flat bed to be able to set pallets on, or two, you can have just the rear here. Now we have our fuel tank here way in the back. Down below it we have your rear axle drive there, coming up to the manual transmission. Now the dump bed is hydraulic, powered directly off of your transmission. So the pump is built directly in. You'll have to shift gear to get it to engage, and then you can run the pump at different speeds, which is kind of fun. And then down below there is where you keep the 660cc engine, tucked away under this cover for debris falling down onto it. You can take this plate off, easy to access, easy to work on. Now we'll go ahead, get inside this baby. Now starting off again, right-hand drive. So no steering wheel on this side. What we do have though is some hand crank windows, locking doors, just as standard amenities. Underneath here, they do include us a flare. A little amp down there below. And then as we were talking about, to get to the engine, everything down there, you must first grab the side of the seat, pull it up, hard to do one-handed, flip it down. Back here we do have your tire lug nut breaker, nice addition there. And then you have a switch under the door, under the seat, pull it up, and there we can flip up our seat, access everything down below. Coolant there, wiper fluid, oil, and it's also nice they give us the jack right there. So Got a little floor jack. Getting into the controls, we have your parking brake, standard transmission, so you have your high and low and neutral. We'll get into that here in a bit. You have your left-hand drive, and you have your PTO for your dump bed. Now controls-wise, it actually has a decent amount of options on the dash here. So you have your four-wheel drive fully engaged, or you have your locking rear diff, you have your parking alert, and then auto start, stop for when you're just helping the fuel economy out, traction control off, and this is your light angle. Now we also have full AC in this thing, and heat, the vents on the left and right here. And then your wonderful high quality AM/FM radio. Hopping inside here, you have your extremely plush Hijet interior. Actually, it's got surprisingly good seats. The material is thick, gonna be good for working. This funky little headrest here. Go ahead and sit down, center this up. Also, horn. Now close the door, shut off that blinking. Now starting off, really interesting driving manual with your left hand. Clutch and pedals, everything's the same, but all your shifts are happening here instead of happening over here. So let's go ahead and start this baby up. Man, it's so different driving on the right side. I can't say, having killed it a couple times, accidentally shifting into third. A really great thing about this truck is the narrow footprint. I mean, this thing is tiny. You can get between all the trees you need while still having your dump bed and everything necessary. Your turning radius on this is also incredibly impressive, as the wheel is sitting right under my seat. You're almost beyond the front steering, so when you want to get around edges, it really doesn't take anything at all. You don't need much space to do the steering. I mean, this thing is nimble. Now when you're driving and you don't cognitively think about it, I'll keep flinching my right hand to come and shift. So it's really interesting getting used to shifting with my left hand. The low in this thing in first gear is so low. You can even, let's go ahead and shift it in there. We're in one low. Get it rolling. It'll idle itself along just in first gear, so. That's the speed we're running at. Look at that. Look at that little beauty. Got a leaf. Yeah. That's how low your first gear is. Now this thing is a excellent workhorse. The other thing is it's incredibly reliable. Incredibly reliable in the sense that it just keeps going. I mean, a lot of our modern technology is focused on efficiency and speed and all that, and this is just focused on buy it once, keep it running. You can do simple maintenance yourself.
雨の日でも雪の日でも畑でも田んぼの中でも行きますからね。
Monsoon friendly. Now, while I still think that the Hijet is geared as a farm vehicle, it still is very capable off-road. We took it through its paces in the snow, up and down a pretty aggressive hills, a lot more than I was expecting, and it really did quite well. And we stopped completely going up a hill in four-wheel drive just to see what kind of grab it has. Had to use a parking brake to let off the clutch and give it throttle at the same time, and we were just spinning all four wheels, so ended up backing down the hill. Manual is not the greatest for climbing like this, but just get a wind up, we were good to go. Now the leaf springs unloaded in the rear make for some pretty rough off-roading. There were many times where we'd slam the ground hard and everything in the cup holders would go flying. I wouldn't say handling on-road with these tires is much better than the stiffness off-road. This thing wobbles, especially when you start getting up into 85 kilometers, about 50 miles an hour. So it can go on the road, but not a lot of fun. I wouldn't say this thing is great for off-roading or mudding, one puddle, you're gonna lay it up. Not the best for trying to compete with a RZR or any of those off-road vehicles, but this is a dump truck. It's a little bitty baby dump truck, good for around the house, farming, working, whatever you need to do, hauling. On top of, once you street legal it, you just throw stuff in the bed and drive straight home. So that's everything we have here on the Daihatsu Hijet today. Let me know if you got any questions or comments on it down below. I'll be sure to get back with you. So I hope you enjoy. Have a good day.